Ötzi, the Iceman's secret, finally unveiled. The shard of chert from a quarry some 5,000 years ago in the hands of a competent napper rose above the depths to tell a dark story. Our artifact of interest was designed as a tool to provide food and protect oneself and community. Made of natural materials and crafted with primitive skills, it has become the smoking gun to the oldest murder on file. While we may never know the intent, we believe ill will catapulted Ötzi into our time to share his story. New technology and careful examination over the past 34 years has slowly shined light on this dark story. A chance meeting between two hikers and a frozen mummy presents to us our point of interest. On September 19, 1991, a man that waited 5,300 years to tell his story arose out of the ice with a full kit and a hidden gem. Ötzi Iceman was found at 3,210 meters on the east ridge of the Finutspitz in the Ötztal Alps on the Austrian-Italian border, just inside the Italian territory. Believed at first to be a recently deceased fellow mountaineer by tourists Helmut and Erika Simon, they reported to the locals. Some locals believe the body could be that of a World War I casualty, as others have been found regionally over the years. The body had been disturbed by visitors over the next few days until finally recovered from the ice by Rainer Henn from the Institute of Forensic Medicine at the University of Innsbruck on 23 September 1991. He weighed in at 13 kilograms. His remains are 1.54 meters in length. Ötzi would have stood approximately 5'3" and weighed 110 pounds in his time. DNA analysis shows he would have had brown eyes and brown hair. A simple arrowhead designed by a talented napper some 5,300 years ago in a southern alpine style is now at the center of a homicide. The arrowhead was crafted from chert, a flint with impurities, suitable for arrowheads and knives. Some particulates in the chert can assist in identifying the location of each unique quarry, like a fingerprint. We know 6 of the artifacts that were at the site came from 3 different chert locations. At this time, however, we are unsure of the quarry the chert arrowhead and Ötzi came from, as it is still lodged in his corpse. The arrowhead would have been crafted by a talented napper, showing more skill than the other 2 arrowheads in Ötzi's quiver, or the other flint artifacts found on his person. The arrowhead shows signs of being reworked, possibly by a retoucher tool similar to the one found with Ötzi's remains. Ötzi's retoucher was a fragment of antler that was hammered into the tip of wood. All 6 of Ötzi's flint tools show extensive reworking with an antler-tipped retoucher. This reinforces that flint and chert were a valuable resource and repurposed to extend their life as a useful tool both with the Iceman and his assailant. The arrowhead had pierced through Ötzi's left shoulder, penetrated his scapula, and rested against a rib. Invisible to all the X-rays and CT scans performed in Austria over the past decade. A chest X-ray taken in June 2001 Italy showed a distinctive outline of an arrowhead lodged between the left scapula and the ribs. A follow-up CT scan was performed and confirmed the shape of an arrowhead and its consistency with stone. Dr. Gossner and pathologist Edward E. Carter then looked for the point at which the arrow would have penetrated. A 2-centimeter cut in the skin confirmed the trajectory of the arrow. There was also a corresponding small tear in his coat where the entry wound is located. Advances in CT technology and software allowed a 2007 CT scan to show that the arrowhead had lacerated the left subclavian artery. The subclavian artery where the arrowhead pierced it is a major artery that supplies blood to the left arm. Its close proximity to the aortic arch, the largest artery in the body that carries blood away from the heart, sealed Ötzi's fate. Scientists have estimated Ötzi had bled out in under 8 minutes, most likely unconscious within minutes. There is evidence of a hematoma that can be seen in the chest cavity from the massive blood loss from this wound. We have 3D printed reproductions of the arrowhead that was hidden away in Ötzi's mummified body. Scientists, along with experimental archaeologists, have been able to identify the possible location where it was made by its style and also identify reworking to the arrowhead after production. They are not able to identify the type of chert or where it was mined from through today's technology. The artifact had been left encased in Ötzi's shoulder for fear of damaging his remains and attempting to remove it. The technology and techniques in the future will make it possible to get more information from Ötzi and his many secrets. The science community recognizes this truth and only takes small samples to work with and attempts to leave the remains as undisturbed as possible. For over 5 millennia, Ötzi laid frozen in time. The summer of 1991 had unusual climatic conditions that summer, creating unusual glacier ice melting in the Alps. This opened one of the coldest cold cases in history, although at the time we had no idea they were looking at a murder. 19 September 1991, Ötzi was observed by tourists Helmut and Erika Simon. A few groups of people went to the site to observe the enigma appearing out of the ice. On the 23rd of September 1991, Rainer Henn from the Institute of Forensic Medicine at the University of Innsbruck, Austria, extracted the body and delivered it to the local coroner. Archaeologist Konrad Spindler of the University of Innsbruck was notified and arrived on the 24th of September 1991. Konrad Spindler estimated the body to be over 4,000 years old by the artifacts that were recovered with the body. After a survey of the adjusted borders, it was agreed that Ötzi was found inside Italy's borders. Italy agreed to let Austria continue their research of the remains as they prepared the Museum of Archaeology with a closed, temperature-controlled room to store Ötzi. In January of 1998, Ötzi was transported under heavy guard and secrecy. Ötzi was delivered to the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy. Radiologist Gostner at the Bolzano General Hospital recognized an anomaly in an X-ray, June 2001. The foreign object looked like an arrowhead, and a follow-up CT scan confirmed it was with its shape and consistency of a stone arrowhead. Dr. Gostner and pathologist Edward Egarter then looked for the point at which the arrow would have penetrated. A 2-centimeter cut in the skin confirmed the trajectory of the arrow. There was also a corresponding small tear in his coat where the entry wound would have been. In 2005, with technological advances in CT software and technology, it was determined that the arrowhead lacerated the left subclavian artery. A large hematoma was found in the chest cavity, confirming bleed out and cause of death. The arrow shaft had been removed before death. We noticed as the void left from the shaft had filled with blood before coagulating. The shaft of the broken off arrow in Ötzi's chest cavity was not found in the excavation area, leading us to believe someone, friend or foe, had left the area with it. Ötzi is tucked away in a controlled cell at the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano at 6 degrees Celsius and at 99% humidity. Ötzi is regularly sprayed with sterile water so he does not lose its natural moisture. The temperature and humidity is carefully regulated in the cell to closely simulate glacial conditions. Scientists work in this very sterile environment, careful not to introduce modern foreign bacteria or be infected by 5,000-year-old particulates. Resembling a modern operating room in technique, Ötzi has undergone numerous exploratory surgeries to collect stomach content, soft tissue, brain tissue, and other data. We know what Ötzi ate hours before his attack, and insights into his health from 5,000 years ago is never before available to modern science. Little is known about the arrowhead that brought Ötzi to us from long ago. The arrowhead remains embedded in his scapula and may remain there for decades to come. While we may never get to examine it under a microscope and determine where it was mined, and perhaps worked into an arrowhead, this fragment of chert is a catalyst to an overwhelming amount of scientific data that has changed history forever and will likely change our understanding of our ancestors before Ötzi's book is closed. Without this little work piece of chert being launched into Ötzi, we would not know of this man and his gear. We will never know if Ötzi is an innocent victim of a crime, political adversary, or a fugitive brought to justice. These questions may never be answered. A careful examination of Ötzi and his finds has answered many questions and perhaps created even more for future generations to work through.